The organisation administrator or org admin role is an important one. We'll start with an overview. In order to manage or administer user accounts, you'll need to be an organisation administrator. Here's what an org admin can do. First are the users. If you're an org admin, you can only manage people who are part of your organisation and not other organisations. In Aconex, a user is someone who has an account with a username and password and that can log in and access projects. Next are the details for the organisation itself, and this includes setting some defaults and basic information about your company. You probably won't be doing a lot of admin in this area, but it's still good to know. Lastly, there are preferences that relate to your organisation. There are a lot of them, but we'll focus on the ones that matter and that help you maintain more control and reduce risk. There will be some overlap in these three areas, but if you just remember that the org admin looks after users, details and preferences, that's a really good place to start. We discussed communication in the organisation administration course as well, but it's always worth reminding ourselves about the importance of communication in relation to administration. As an administrator, you'll be making changes to the way in which Aconex behaves and how users interact with it. These changes might be big or small, which is often very subjective. But never underestimate any kind of change. Even what appears to be a simple alteration to a setting in the preferences area could have a big impact. It's really important that you communicate early and often about any changes you make to the setup of your organisation, a project, and your colleagues' accounts. While it's nice to get a surprise every now and then, if it affects how others work, that might not be so welcome. Let's look at three factors that make communication successful. First, there's consistency. It really does pay to be consistent with your communications. This means using the same mechanism and format each time, and preferably those that give you the greatest chance of your communication being read or heard. If people know that important communication is always in the same place, it means less effort on their part. Next, make your communications concise. If something takes more than about 60 seconds to read, it's likely to remain unread. Sad but true. It's fair to say that most of us have to deal with lots of information coming at us from lots of different places. It's easy to miss things, and if we see something that we think will take up too much of our time, we're likely to ignore it. Finally, be clear, and that means keeping the language simple. Don't use fancy words, phrases or technical jargon if you can avoid it. For example, if your communications are in English, but a lot of your audience don't speak English as their first language, using certain phrases and words can be confusing. Most of all, be direct and tell people what they need to know and what they need to do. If you need people to do something, make that the first thing in your communication. Remember the 3 C's: consistent, concise, and clear communications.